Hi everybody, it's Dr. Jamnadas again, and it gives me great pleasure today to talk about silence. And my topic today is silence for survival. And as a cardiologist, I find this topic extremely important, and I want to share with you my thoughts because in this modern life, we have lack of silence. And we definitely have far more deafening sounds all the time. And it's not just external sounds. I'm talking about the sounds, the thoughts in your head. Have you noticed that we now have constant chattering in our head? That we cannot shut down the monkey in your head. There's someone talking to you all the time. There's thoughts coming all the time. There's emotions coming into your head. There's constant barrage of commentary going on inside your head. And don't you ever wish that I wish I didn't have all this? Because it is impeding you in many ways to do the things that you really need to do. Because the things you really need to do are what's going to help you to attain a better life, better health, better habits. So I became interested in this because when I was trying to help my patients to make changes in their life, make a change, the first thing they'll say, but doc, I have no energy to make those changes. I'm so addicted to this pattern of eating or this pattern of living or this pattern of my lifestyle. I cannot make changes. So as a cardiologist, I felt helpless that how am I going to make my patient make these changes? Because I'm asking you to change your diet. I'm asking you to do intermittent fasting. I'm asking you to exercise more. I'm asking you to sleep more. I'm asking you to change your routines in your daytime. I'm asking you to change your routines in the evening. I'm asking you to change your habits when it comes to gadgets and even lighting. There's so many things I'm asking you to do. But the problem is that most people cannot make the changes. You're stuck. You're addicted. You're stuck in this lifestyle. And how do you harness the energy to make a change? Changing is not easy. And my answer in all the years that I've been dealing with patients comes down to this one technique, which I'm going to hopefully pass on to you today, and that is silence. Because it is through silence that you will actually harness the techniques, the methodologies, and the energy to make all these changes that we really need to make, because it's not easy to make changes. We are creatures of habits. Let's admit it. We are creatures of habits. We got here today because of the habits. Now you're asking me to change my habit? And you're not giving me any tools to make changes? Well, hopefully I can give you some tools today. And I hope that you're going to find this very interesting. And it's a little long, so bear with me. But there's lots of things that we're going to cover today. So the first thing that I discovered is that in order for a patient to make a change in their lifestyle, in order for them to make any type of commitment, they first need to get into silence so that they can change their mind. To change your mind, what does that mean? Your thoughts are always there. Thoughts keep coming, and you need to stop those thoughts. How many of you cannot go to sleep because your mind is racing all the time? How many of you constantly get ideas over and over and over again? You think about the past all the time. Something bad happened, and now you're regurgitating that over and over and over again, and it's made you dysfunctional. How many of you are stuck in the future, and those thoughts keep coming about the future? You're neurosing about the future. You're just thinking about the future, and therefore you are immobilized. You just cannot do anything. You cannot put your mind on anything that now Dr. J wants you to do. How can you put your mind on something when your mind is stuck in the past, or your mind is stuck into the future, and you just have that chattering monkey all the time? And this is where I have discovered that we need to retrain our mind. So I started my own journey on this, because before I tell you to do it, I got to do it myself. And as a physician, I have thousands of things going on at one time. I have patients that are waiting outside in the waiting room. I have test results that I have to go through. I have phone calls that I have to get back to. The hospital is calling me all the time. And here I'm sitting deciphering whether I need to do a stent on somebody or not. So how do I take my attention and put it on one thing and give it my entire bandwidth? Do you understand what I mean by bandwidth? You got to be there for that moment. Think just only about that. But how can you think about one thing when you have so many different thoughts going on in your head all the time? So for me, I found that if I'm going to be an effective physician, and if I'm going to do one thing and only one thing at a time, how do I shut off everything else? How do I shut that monkey up? How do I stop talking about the past and about the future? Yes, those things are important. I need the past so that I know what mistakes I made, so I know what to do today. I also need the tomorrow because I need some planning to do. But it shouldn't take over my life. I'm the boss. Who's the boss? Are you the boss, or is that monkey the boss? Are you a slave to all those thoughts that keep coming? Because if you are, then you're already addicted and you're a slave to your mind and you think that that's you, when actually the real boss is you, the real you. So I'm confusing you now. Who is the real you? The real you is the one that's receiving the thoughts, receiving the memories of the past, receiving the thoughts about the future. The real you is the one that's the awareness. You're aware of your thoughts. Then the mistake we make is that we take possession of those thoughts. Now I'm going to explain something to you. I realized that when these thoughts just pop up in my mind, they didn't pop up because I deliberately thought about them. When I want to think about something, that's a deliberate thought. I want to think about my home that I need to paint the front room. That's a thought that I deliberately make, and now I think about everything that needs to be done. But most of the time, these thoughts just pop up. Have you noticed that your thoughts just pop up all the time and you don't have control of them? But the problem is then you take possession of those thoughts. You say, oh, those are my thoughts. But wait a second. They came from your subconscious. They came from your past memories. They just popped up in this moment. Who invited those thoughts at that moment? Did you invite those thoughts? I didn't. But they pop up. And when they pop up like that, they take over. Now you think about that thought or that emotion, and then you elaborate on it, and a thought leads to another thought and another thought. And before you know it, now you are in that world of thoughts, followed by thought. And how can you be functional now when you can't really do what you want to do because those thoughts kept popping in? So what I decided to do for myself was a technique that I use to this date, where I sit down quietly in silence. And I close my eyes and just sit. No agenda whatsoever. I'm just sitting. What are you doing, Doc? I'm just sitting. And I close my eyes and I concentrate on my breath going in and out through my nose. And then I can feel the breath coming in and the breath going out. And initially, myself and some people around me thought, what a waste of time. But then I started noticing that thoughts come into my head. I got to take the laundry out. I forgot to do that. And then I follow up on that. But suddenly I say, no, I'm not following up on that thought because I did not invite the laundry list. I did not. So I come back to my nose. And I put my attention on my nose. Whose attention is it? It's my attention. I decided to concentrate on my nose and my breath. So I take my attention away from my thought of the laundry and I come back to my nose. And I'm aware now of the breath coming in and out, and that's all I'm aware of. And then about 10 seconds later, another thought comes that your car needed servicing and you still didn't take it in. Now, wait a second, I didn't invite that. That is true, I do need to take my car in. But that's not a thought I need to entertain right now. It is a thought, but I want to think about it on my terms. So again, I don't follow up on it. I come back to my breathing. Because if I followed up on it, next thing I'll be taking out my iPhone and I'll be looking at my schedule to see when the car needs to go in. And right now, I don't want to do that. I want to come back to put my attention on my nose and on my breath. And I keep doing this for every thought that comes. And guess what? It was the toughest thing I had to ever conquer. It was very difficult to do. Because the instinct is to get up and do something. Stop wasting your time sitting around. But your ability to pull your thoughts and put them away and take your attention and draw it back to your nose, that ability is your muscle strength. Your muscle work is going to be to pull your attention and your awareness away from those thoughts and put it where you want to do it. That's the muscle that you need to develop. So now I will entertain the thoughts that I want to entertain. When, how, under my conditions. And I found out that when I was able to do this and take away my awareness from those thoughts and put them where I want to put them at that time, made my day-to-day life better. Because then when I'm with patients, if I'm doing surgery or something, I can just do what I want to do at that moment. And those intrusive thoughts, I don't have to entertain them. And even if they do come, I'm quickly able to come back to what I'm doing now because I did this exercise. This is the exercise that we need to do. This is why silence is needed. To build this exercise, your exercise. What's your exercise? Your exercise, your ability to put your awareness where you want it to be, not be dragged away. We just give away our attention to everything. We're giving away our awareness to everything. You're becoming a slave to, and everyone wants your attention. Pick up the phone, everyone wants your attention. People around you, everyone wants your attention. But wait a second. My attention is my attention span. I want to put it where I want to put it. So this exercise has helped me personally to be able to concentrate on what I want to concentrate on. It was difficult because the instinct was to get up and do something. And initially, I only did this for 5 minutes because being what I am, and you may say that I'm a little bit type A, yeah, fine, but the instinct is to get up and run, do something. Do something useful. You're just sitting around doing nothing. But my mental ability, my ability to put my consciousness where I want to do it comes from silence. So that's the first thing you need to learn. The power of silence, the ability to possess your awareness and your attention and put it where you want to put it. I am no longer a slave to my thoughts. I will think those things when I want to think those things. I will not think those things if I don't want to think those things. Those things come from my subconscious, they come from my past, they come from my future. So I was able to then release my past more easily. I was able to release the neurosis about the future more easily. I'll still deal with them, but on my terms. So my practice of this silence and my ability to move my consciousness, my awareness, and bring it back, take possession of it again and be in charge, made me the boss again, has helped me to, in my own personal life. And now I'm sharing it with my patients, that you got to do this. And you know what? Almost every time I sit with my patients and we talk about these kinds of things, they all unanimously agree with me that, oh my goodness, Doc, you are so right. My quality of my life, which is determined by my thoughts, is taken over. I'm hijacked. Are you hijacked? Have you been hijacked? Of course you have been hijacked. Your awareness has been hijacked. Everything is giving you that dopamine kick all the time. You've been hijacked. You are now addicted to thoughts because you took possession of their thoughts. Thoughts are just thoughts. Emotions are just emotions. It's you who has to see them and decide whether you want to work on that or not. You have to be the boss. In my moments of silence, I realized something else. I realized that when there's no thought, because I came back to my nose and I had no thoughts, I realized who I really am. I am nothing but awareness. I'm nothing but consciousness. I'm emptiness until I fill my consciousness with something. And the fact is that I want to be the one that's going to fill my consciousness with something. Not have someone else fill up my consciousness with their stuff. Everyone wants to fill your consciousness with their stuff. So I found that in my moments of silence, when I have no thought, I still am. I didn't die. I was still there. But I had no content. The lack of content gave me strength. The lack of content then made me deliberate when I come out of it. So I only did 10 minutes of it. First I did 5 minutes for about 3-4 months, then about 10 minutes. And nowadays, I don't do more than 10 minutes of this, but I do it in the morning and I do it in the evening. And some people do it longer periods of time. Absolutely. There were times when I've done it for even longer. And when I first did it, I'm going to share something with you all. When I first did it, I did a silence retreat for 10 days. And that was probably the toughest thing I've ever done. Now, I'm not advising you all to do it, but start this at home. Start it at home. Find your little corner. Sit down. Don't sit in an awkward position. You don't have to be cross-legged or anything, because then you're aware of my pain in my knees, pain in my butt, pain in my back. No, just find a comfortable position. You can even do it lying down if you want. Trouble is that you tend to fall asleep if you're lying down. So I just like to sit in a nice, comfortable chair, and I'm not aware of my bodily sensations because I don't want thoughts. Because those bodily sensations are thoughts as well. Oh, I've got an aching knee. Oh, I got a little neck ache here. Oh, I got an itch over here. They're all thoughts. They're all thoughts. Everything is thoughts. All your emotions are thoughts. All these sensations are all thoughts. So you want to kind of be sensation-free so that you can get into this silence. You have to get into the silence. Then you can put your attention to your nose and your breathing, and then you'll see those thoughts coming into your consciousness. They are like logs on a stream, and they just float by, but you let them float and go away. And then there's the silence. Then another log comes, and then there's a silence. Another log comes by, there's a silence. And eventually, you'll be in longer and longer periods of silence. In doing so, I was able to also forgive myself about the past. Release my past. Because the past is past. And if it's past, why am I thinking about it now? It hurt you before, and now it's hurting you over and over again, even today. Why? It happened. You got to release it. How do you release your past? Because look, you're not going to change for the better to become a better cardiac patient or a better, more metabolically healthy person unless you forgive yourself for the past. You got to get out of the past. But when I was able to do this, I was able to release my past because those thoughts that popped in from the past, I let them go now. Why? Because I flexed my muscle. My muscle, which muscle? My ability to take my consciousness and put it where I want to now. Release that thought, come back to my nose. Same thing for the future. Who doesn't have stress about the future? I got this huge practice to run, right? I've got 50 employees. What am I going to do? I'm stressing about tomorrow every day. What's going to happen? But no, I think about it when I need to. When it's the meeting time, I'll sit down and have the meeting. So then I deal with it at that point, under my terms. So I was able to be more effective. For my patients, it's the same thing I'm teaching them. And they come to me and say, Doc, that monkey doesn't stop talking. When they do this technique, the monkey starts talking. Sure he does. He doesn't shut up. But he stops talking less and less and less because you're not giving it attention anymore. See, the more attention you give to those thoughts, you're going to get more thoughts because one thought leads to another. But if you just let that thought go by and come back to your nose, guess what? That monkey gets tired. And before you know it, he's quiet for the next few minutes and then he'll have another thought. But eventually you'll have longer and longer periods where there's total silence. And that's where you want to be because now you're in charge. You're in charge. Now you can make the changes that you want to make. So let me explain to you typical scenarios for patients. You have to cut out carbohydrates. You got to cut out all sugars. All the sweets that you are eating right now, you need to get rid of all those. And the poor patient says, but doc, I'm addicted. It's my life. I've done it for so many years. Now, if they've done this exercise, the power of the silence to make you survive. Once they've done this, now when the thought comes that I got to eat the sweet, they'll say, that's a thought. It's all thoughts. Whether you're clinging to something and you're getting withdrawal from sweets, they're all thoughts. All you need to do then is think about this exercise. I am registering the thought of hunger, or I'm registering the thought of eating the sugar. I'm registering the thought of eating the carbohydrates. But I don't have to do it. I'm going to put my attention somewhere else right now. And you take your attention, put it away from the sweets, and put it into something else. So you may want to go read your book, or go out into the garden, or do something different. In the past, you wouldn't. You'd give in to that. Because you take possession of the thought, and you say, indeed, I am hungry. Indeed, I am somebody that needs sweets. Now you realize that there's you and the thought of having the sweet. You don't have to have that sweet. And that ability to pull away from that is the exercise that you're doing in silence. You will pull away from that wish to eat. Same thing for, let's say, fasting. I got to eat because it's 12 o'clock. I told you all that you become a Pavlovian dog because the bell rings and you're salivating. So it's 12 o'clock, you got to go eat. You're not really hungry, but the thought comes to you that it's 12 o'clock, I got to go eat. Now, because you've done this exercise, you can walk away from that. You can say, I'm going to put my attention on something else. I'm going to actually take a little walk around the outside and get some red light therapy coming out from the sun. And it's not just red light, it's going to give me the broad spectrum. And I'm going to get some UV light as well. And I'm going to get red light therapy. And I'm going to get fresh air outside. I'm going to get some biophilia outside. You're going to do something different. But now that's a decision you made. Not a decision that was imposed on you. Get out of this life of imposition. You are free beings. And when they say you are free thinkers, I take it beyond that. No. Yes, you are a free thinker, but you're a free consciousness, free to entertain whatever you want to entertain. So these addictive behaviors that we have, and we're all addicted to this behavior. Eating the wrong stuff, can't walk past the pastry, have to go shopping, have to buy all these ready-made goods, it's ultra-processed foods. I know they're bad for you, you know they're bad for you, and yet you can't avoid them. Why? Why? Because your willpower is not there. Well, I've just given you a great tool for willpower. What is willpower? Willpower is to overcome your instincts, to give in. And I just told you that you're giving in to what? A thought. Stop giving in to those thoughts. Now you get your willpower back again. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to do it. But in order to do that, you need to do this exercise. You need to go into silence. So it sounds very crazy. The doc is telling you how to change your eating habits, how often to eat, what to eat, and all the addictions that you have and your behavioral disorders that you might have given up around eating by going into silence. Well, it's absolutely true. It's experientially true. I've done it, experienced it. You see, you can meditate about it as much as you want. That's another exercise of just thoughts. Experience it. Do things that are experiential, where you can actually experience it for yourself. When you experience something, it means something to you. It's true to you now, and you will be convinced. Because otherwise, all that mental work will not, it may make a small dent on you, but it doesn't really have a long-acting effect on you, because it doesn't change you at the ground level. So you can think about it, you can read all the books you want, you can talk to people, oh, I need to fast, I need to do this. That's all fine, but at the end of the day, you've got to make that decision. And I'm giving you a tool here in silence where you will be able to make that decision. And you will be able to carry out what you want to do it. Because you realize there's two of you. There's your mind and there's your consciousness. There's two of you. There's two of you. Your mind is a very good tool. Because if I didn't have that, I'd lose my way home. I would forget every time how to drive my car. So it helps me in that regard. But what I've forgotten is that all that automatic things that happen in my life and thoughts are separate from something else, my consciousness. I'm introducing you to your consciousness. Call it what you want. My amness. I just am. No content. My amness. Because there's something else I realized when I did all this. It helped me to identify who I really am. Because this, when you start doing this, you start asking yourself, who are you? Well, am I the Dr. J? Am I a husband? Am I a grandfather now? Am I a father? Am I a young man? Am I older now? I got a white beard now? Which version of me am I referring to today? And when you think about it, when I try to identify who I really am, the answer is all those things. Well, then who are you if you're changing so much? I was a little boy, then I was a teenager, then I was a high school graduate, then I went to college, and then I was a young man, got married. I changed. Everything changed. My body changed. My thoughts changed. My emotions changed. Then who am I? Who's the Dr. J? Because tomorrow he's going to be different. Dr. J is going to be different tomorrow. And say, which version of Dr. J is this? Well, there's only one version of me that's real. And that version is that you will find and encounter when you get into silence and you have no thoughts and you have awareness. So it was my awareness of my amness, I just am, that saw the changes in my whole life. My amness, my consciousness saw all the changes that went throughout my life. Now, how did that help me? Because it helped me accept the future. My amness will see the next version of Dr. J, where he's going to get a little older. He's going to get grayer. He may start getting more pain in his elbow than before. It's a new version of Dr. J. He'll be limping a little bit maybe because his right hip still hurts a little bit. But I will embrace that because my amness will see, my consciousness will see that this is the next version of me. Okay, fine. So I've found that it allows me to age more gracefully, accept myself, because my amness is seeing me and understands that I am fluid, I'm dynamic, I'm changing. There's no static version of you. And that empowers me, because if I'm not static, I can change. And I'll accept that change. The changes that I'm asking people to make, diet, exercise, all these things, are going to create a new version of you. And you've got to accept it. Who's accepting it? Your consciousness is accepting it. Illness as well. When illness comes, this allows you to accept it and move in a better way than in a neurotic way for diseases. So I've seen that my patients who have embraced this are then better able to embrace illness in their health. They're better able to embrace the bad things in the past, do things in the moment, the present moment awareness, forgetting about the future also, accepting things as they are now, this dynamic fluid life that you got, this dynamic fluid body that you got. It allows you to accept that. And it's in that silence that it grows. It's when you are silent and you come out of that silence after sitting there for 10 minutes, and you realize that, gosh, there is another part of me that is not full of all these thoughts all the time. And it's so peaceful when I'm there. I'm so peaceful. When I'm quiet, when I'm silent in my brain, it's so peaceful because I'm not at war. You're constantly at war because you got all these thoughts going on all the time. And sometimes they're diagonally opposite thoughts because your father said something, your mother said something, your sibling said something else, your school teacher said something else, your best friend said something else. What are you supposed to do? It stops all that warring, because warring are just different thoughts that are going on all the time. You got to try this. You just have to try it. So in the process of doing this silence, I also realized something else, that I realized a thing called the pleasure of my own company. And it sounds crazy, but it's true. Because when's the last time you really took advantage of the pleasure of your own company? Just being in silence, you here with yourself, your own consciousness. And when you come out of it, you feel inspired. What does that mean? Inspired in spirit. Inspiration, inspirato, comes from your spirit. In your quietness, in doing your consciousness exercise that I've been talking about, you come out with inspiration. Going to your own company, finding pleasure in your own company, and from that source, you get inspiration. You come out with great ideas. You know, some of the great ideas don't come when you think. Have you noticed that? A lot of the greatest ideas actually come out when you're not thinking, and all of a sudden it just, wow, that was fantastic. Where did that come from? It came from your spirit. It came from your consciousness. Because I've also noticed it, that, you know, if I have a certain project to do, of this difficult task, I'll think, and I have to make a decision, and I have all these things, but finally at the end of it, a snap decision is made. Who's making all that decision? So all that mentalness did not give rise to my decision. The decision actually came from somewhere else. But I found that the more silence I got into, the more I enjoyed my own company, the more I enjoyed that it was giving me more inspiration. And I often wondered, should I even talk about this? But I can tell you that I see thousands of patients every year, and those who've embraced this, I've seen drastic changes in them. I've seen that their entire life changes. They're able to bring about the changes that I want them to make. People who are addicted to foods now change. People who are addicted to certain lifestyles now change. People who had dysfunctional relationships, they realize that that was in the past. They don't have to do that anymore. It changes. It heals relationships. And people who are neurosing about the future, they also tend to settle down and understand that the future will unroll itself. But in this moment, I'm going to give it my full bandwidth. I love this word bandwidth. Because you've got a certain bandwidth of attention. And if you're going to use up half of it because you're still stuck in the past thoughts or the future, are you here? Are you here? Are you with me? Or are you stuck in the past? Are you with me? Or are you stuck in the future? Because if you want to be here, then your awareness needs to be here, now. Otherwise, your awareness is in the past, which is hopeless, or your awareness is in the future, and that's also hopeless. So are you going to be here now or not? With your full bandwidth? And that's the question that I want to pose to everybody and ask them, that to be more effective, we need to be here. Come here, now, in this moment. And this is what's going to make your life drastically change. So the other things that I noticed is that when patients do this, their blood pressures come down. What? How did the blood pressure come down? Because when you go into silence, these thoughts are not there. Bad emotions, bad thoughts, stressful thoughts affect your biology. So we've always said that, how do thoughts affect my biology? How can it make my blood pressure go up? Well, we know it's true. And now we know the pathways as well. It's all to do with the mitochondria. It affects your mitochondria. And you're going to make more redox oxygen potentials, and you get more inflammation, you get epigenetic changes, you get adrenaline coming in, you get cortisol coming in, you get dopamine also participating. All your bad thoughts, your emotional thoughts, all negativities will result in a biological change in your body. I don't want that chemistry to change. But when I am in my amness, when I'm just in my consciousness, I've turned off all those chemicals. And the effect lasts for the whole day, or at least 12 hours that we know of. And then you do it again. So you're constantly getting this reset of your hormones. Then obviously the blood pressure is going to go down. Look, you've all been told that you have high blood pressure. Here's a pill. You got to take it forever. And you all know that I've said this over and over again, that there's no such thing as essential hypertension. You've got to get the root cause of it, which may be insulin resistance or sleep apnea or stress. your lifestyle, circadian pattern disorders, toxicity, lots of reasons for high blood pressure, but we need to get to the root cause of it. But one of them is actually this, that don't think that your thoughts don't translate into your physiology. Your thoughts metabolize themselves into the chemicals of your body. So why entertain those thoughts that are making your metabolism bad? This technique of silence makes you in control of your thoughts and gets rid of those bad ones. Therefore, your chemistry gets better. And it's obvious that blood pressure comes down. Heart rate variability. I've had so many patients tell me their heart rate variability got better. Blood pressure came down. They're able to come off 1 or 2 blood pressure medications. And that's not unusual. This is not unusual. We see that a lot. In your thoughts, you get sympathetic activity all the time. In silence, you get parasympathetic. Sympathetic, parasympathetic. You want to enhance your parasympathetic, you need to go into silence. You want to constantly entertain thoughts, you're going to get lots of sympathetic, fight, flight, flight, adrenaline all day long. And then, welcome to modern diseases. You want vagal tones. You get vagal tones through this breathing exercise and letting full control of your thoughts. Go into emptiness, go into silence, and you'll get a burst of parasympathetic into your body. Pulse rate goes down. That's why I like this one technique, which is the breathing technique. Breathing into the count of 4, breathing out to the count of 8. When you're doing that, at the same time as you do this silence, you're also stimulating your parasympathetic nerve, because it's expiration that stimulates parasympathetic. Inspiration stimulates sympathetic. That's why when you are all excited and stressed out, your breath is up there, because you're stimulating that sympathetic nerve endings in your chest. But parasympathetic, you're breathing out, long expiration. Now you're stimulating all the parasympathetic vagal nerves in your body. So you want more vagal tone here, because we are a modern society hooked on sympathetic stimulation. You need parasympathetic. In silence, which you need for survival, you're going to get vagal overtones. You're going to get parasympathetic stimulation. Parasympathetic is rest, restoration, relaxation, reproduction. That's the way it's supposed to be. The yin and the yang, yin and the yang. You're supposed to run away from the saber-toothed tiger, and as soon as he's out of sight, then you go behind a bush and sit down, and your breathing is supposed to come back to normal. And you're not supposed to worry that what's going to happen to me next, because the tiger's now gone. But no, modern life, we keep thinking the tiger's still chasing you, and you're just running all day long. The tiger's gone. But you still think he's behind you all the time. That's modern life. You got to turn this off. When's the last time you deliberately turned it off? This is how you deliberately turn it off. You consciously have to turn it off. You got to sit down and go into silence. You'll turn off that tiger mentality that he's still chasing you all day long. Because as a cardiologist, as someone who's so interested in cardiometabolic disease, chronic diseases, this is a huge link with what I'm talking about, not only in terms of behavior, but in terms of how you're metabolizing your environment. Our environment is becoming very toxic, and we have to change. We have to change now. That's why silence is needed for survival. Silence for survival. It's needed now more than ever before. The other thing that I've noticed is relationships change. I've actually seen it. I've actually seen it with my patients. They would come in and they would tell me that, doc, I've been doing this thing over here now, and my relationship with my family members or my daughter or whoever they were having to struggle with got better. So there is no negative part of this entire technique, and it's simple, folks. It's simple. Shut the monkey up in your head. Realize that that's not you. Those are just thoughts, and thoughts pop up from your subconscious. You didn't invite them into your consciousness. There's two parts of you. There's your consciousness, your subconscious. You are in charge. Your consciousness is in charge. You should be constantly aware of this fact that there's two of you, and don't take possession of those thoughts. You can entertain thoughts on your terms. Go into silence. Nobody teaches us that. Nobody taught me that. With my background growing up, nobody taught me. Nobody told me to sit down and just be quiet. When they did, it was because I was mischievous. Hey, sit down and be quiet as a child. But no, I'm in quiet. I learned it the hard way, and I'm passing it on to all of you now. And the patients of mine that have embraced this, I can't tell you what they've done. They've lost 50 pounds, they've lost 100 pounds, they've fasted for up to 180 days. And I'm like, how did you do this? As a doc, you made it happen. They were able to get over addictions. They were able to exercise now. They were able to mend relationships. And they're coming to the office laughing, smiling, and being happy. But I can't sit down with everybody and talk about this individually. So I hope that this video has helped you. Because you can look at it, listen to it, and do it yourself. Experience it. Don't just listen to this at an intellectual level. Do it. Experience it. Feel it. Everything has to be experiential. Otherwise, it's just mental again. And I'm telling you to be less mental and more experiential. Become less mental, become more experiential, and use your mental capacities on your terms. Not letting that control and dictate your life. So, silence. I will make short videos on how to just sit in silence. And the tricks that you can do are the breathing, like I said, coming back to your nose each time. Just be aware of the breath. Just be aware of the breath in and out of your nose, because that's something for you to focus upon. And it has no subjectivity, objectivity, negativity, positivity. It's just your breath. Because that's something you're going to be doing anyway. You're going to breathe. So why not put your attention on the breath? So people say, why the breath? Because it's there. And there's nothing good or bad about it. Just breathe. So just put your attention on the breath. It's a very soothing experience. So folks, I hope you've enjoyed this. And I know I've enjoyed it. It's a very difficult subject. And people are going to say that I think Dr. J has lost it, but I think, no, I haven't. I think I found it. I didn't lose it. I think I found it. So I want to share that with you all. Thank you. So if you really like this video, here's another one that I think you'll really enjoy. And if you want to see one of my latest videos, click over here. And of course, don't forget to go to my website, where you will see lots of educational resources and find out how you can arrange or book a consultation with me.